Hello everyone, this is JPL, and today I'm joined with...
Christopher.
Yes, we're back in the car. It's a bit more of a muggy day today. And, so Christopher, how are you doing today?
I'm tired. I got 6 hours of sleep last night, and the night before I got 3 hours, so not doing too well in terms of staying awake. Today's going to be a busy day. I'm just glad I got more than 3 hours of sleep last night.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I'm trying.
Yeah.
What about you?
I mean, I'm doing alright.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just ready for the semester to end.
Me too.
But I'm not ready for all the work that has to be done for that to happen.
Yeah.
So, this week is going to be the busiest week.
Oh, I should have been busy this whole time, but I just haven't been.
Yep. So...
Now, I have had some things come up that have prevented me from being able to. I'll try to get into one of those later, but at the same time, I know I'm just straight up unproductive. Just like I sit down and I just don't get stuff done.
Yeah.
It's hard. I'm mentally over stuff. So, I did do one significant thing yesterday, which is good. So, I did a little something.
Okay.
But I know I could be doing a lot more than I am. So, I'm trying. The thing is, just because I was sick for a whole month, I'm just really behind, and it's just really hard to still kind of get back in the zone and catch up on work. But I say, I will get things done. I know I will. But it just takes some, I just have to motivate myself more. So.
Yeah. Let's see. In the story of my lives, we did something new with the cats.
Okay.
We brought them all upstairs.
Oh, okay.
So they're all just roaming the top floor now.
And they're getting along, apparently.
Not really, but...
Oh.
They're not really getting along, but they are keeping their distance.
Okay.
Most of the time.
Well, at least they're not so bad that they had to be separated.
No. I mean, I separate them, when I need to feed my cat. Because she works on a different schedule than they do. And they'll just eat all her food. So, I'll separate them, feed my cat.
So how many cats are roaming upstairs? 5?
4.
4.
Yeah.
Imagine if there was another cat. 5 cats.
Oh my gosh, no. I don't know. I'd be flipping it. We already have 4 cats and a dog. Who's gonna bring in a 5th cat? Who's gonna do it? Why? I don't think we can do it.
Maybe you need a parrot now.
No.
Why no?
I don't need to deal with the bird poop. I don't need to deal with the seeds, nor the mice that comes with a parrot.
Well, the parrot could repeat after you. That'd be fun.
That takes a lot of training.
Oh, does it?
I don't know. But it's not that simple. I've had parrots before.
Okay. Imagine if you're talking to your cat and then the parrot starts talking to the cat. How do you think the cat will react?
The cat would just stare at the bird. Trying to kill it. It's oh, food, I want to eat it. That's just how it is.
That'd be entertaining to see, I'm not gonna lie.
No. No. I don't want that to happen.
I don't blame you.
Yes.
It'd be fun to observe, but not to be in the middle of.
Sure, yeah. Maybe. If it was someone else's cat.
Yeah, with someone else's cat. That's why I said it'd be fun.
Yeah. And so, the cats are upstairs. They're interesting to deal with. One of them is just trying to escape the house all the time. Now that she's had a little bit more freedom, it's ooh.
Now she wants more.
I want to go outside all the time now, and I'm going to bully my siblings to do it. And it's true, she will smack them around. Which is ooh. She never did that before until... Shut up. Until, that was a car honking. And so, until we brought her upstairs where she had all this free space, and now she's, smacking them around. It's get away from me. I want my own space.
She's a bunch of spoiled cats.
Yeah. Yeah, that might have to be rehomed.
But you're gonna keep your original.
Of course I'm keeping the original. Like, I can't
Just
get
making
rid.
sure.
Yeah, it's like, I can't get rid of the original.
Yeah.
Like, why would I ever do that? She's not the problem.
Mm-hmm. So, would you keep any of the 3 cats?
I mean, I want to.
But,
it's like, financially you can't.
mm-hmm.
And, like, it's like, it depends on what's better.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So, that's just what we're thinking.
Mm-hmm.
In other news, you have something for us today.
Well, I'm thinking this I'm going to remember, but there's something else I probably should mention.
Okay.
Nothing is ever guaranteed.
Alright.
But I have applied for a job at Focus on the Family.
Oh.
And so what they're offering is an apprenticeship with Adventures of Odyssey because they want to find people to come on their team to take over for them whenever they die or retire.
Nice.
Yeah. So I did 2 interviews last week. Part of the reason why I haven't really been able to do schoolwork, because I had to make time for those. But yeah, so we will see what happens. No guarantee, that I will get it. Because, there's, they asked, me to be honest about things, and I am honest. And, they asked, what are some things I struggle with, and I told them some things, and some of those things are kind of relate, to how, they may operate. So either they'd be willing to take a chance on me, or they want someone a little more qualified. I don't know what they're looking for, but, we will see. So I should hear back by the time I graduate. But I'd like it because, that's something, straight out of college, could be career long something, but there's no guarantee.
I mean, that's just an opportunity right there.
Huge opportunity.
Like, Adventures in Odyssey, like, that's a big thing.
It is big.
For you.
Yeah. Well, yeah, especially, like, me, because I grew up with it, and,
Yeah.
like these... It's, like, when I applied for the thing, I thought, like, oh, cool, I'd be able to work with them. I didn't know, like, the gravity of it.
Mm-hmm.
That they're looking for people to join the team. And so...
It's gotta be, like, nerve-wracking, yeah.
It is. Because it's such a huge responsibility. Mm-hmm. And obviously, like, they're going to take me through the process. And then if they don't feel like I'm right for it, then they're not going to, have me join a team. But, it's... And in time, like, if I do officially, like, join a team, it takes time to, really be part of it and feel part of it. And... Because that's, like, I remember when I started college, I never, like, sat down to think, well, I'm in college, so let me, like, try to understand that concept. I just went in and just did what I had to do, and then in time it's like, yeah, I'm in college.
I mean, yeah, college, for me, was always just the next step after high school.
Mm-hmm. So, like, something like this, like, if I get it, and if I do be part of a team, like, it's obviously going to be like, oh my gosh, but at the same time, I'm not going to try to think about it too much. Not that, like, oh, it's just a job, but I don't want to feel so overwhelmed that's going to hinder me, whether it's my performance or my emotions. So it's kind of like going along with the flow. And that will also be the same that if I don't officially join the team, that I don't want to be so disappointed that it hinders, my stamina, my emotions, the way I approach jobs, the way I do my work. I don't want to be the person that's like, oh, I didn't get it. Well, what? There's no meaning in life. Why am I trying with anything? You know what I mean? That's stupid. So I want to be doing my best. I want to, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And also, it just could also be the case of like where God wants to lead you at this time, because
So
maybe God doesn't really want you to be on Odyssey at this time.
Maybe not.
Maybe it could come back one day. Who knows? It's all in His hands, and we're just trying to figure out what it is.
Yep. For a lot of it, just along for the ride.
Yeah.
So, but especially coming out of college, like that's a huge opportunity.
Oh yeah, like definitely.
And like if I get it, like not just the apprenticeship, but actually they like me enough for me to join a team. That's like a career long.
Like you have a job
for life, basically.
You have a job and a career in something that you like, and like that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's more than just this is a ministry I appreciate support and such. There's also the emotional connection, so which is really really something. So. In the end, God's will. I'm just waiting. I'm just trying to finish school, which I will. But yeah, so just trying to be focused in stuff right now. So yeah. All right. So unless you want to say something else,
I'd say let's get on to this thing that you have here.
Okay. So as you may have heard, I have taken too much time this semester to watch the whole MCU, which I'll listen to the previous podcast if you want more information, because I don't want to go over it all. But basically, because of school, I'm not going to try to rank the movies, basically. And then yesterday, I'm like, I can't focus, I'm going to do it. So I did it. So here's basically ranking. I did one that's tier list, but also I practically ordered it in favorite to least favorite in a very general sense.
Yeah.
Again, this is coming from one who's only seen each of the movies once in about a span of a month. And so I guess I'll go more into detail with that as we go along with the list.
Because definitely opinions will change over time.
Context: I have not seen The Incredible Hulk.
Okay.
I have seen all the other movies. I actually watched the first episode of Falcon and Winter Soldier this morning.
Okay.
Did you start watching it or not?
I did, but I'm waiting.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I think the 6th episode releases this week. And that was actually kind of my thought. Is like, I didn't want to start it. That either it'd be so suspenseful, or maybe to your extreme, you don't feel engaged enough.
Yeah.
So I'm like, this week, when the 6th episode releases, perfect time to start it. And so I have a friend who's only seen the first episode as well, so we might watch the rest the way throughout this next week. But also just the fact of spoilers. And I've gone through a lot of MCU knowing a lot of stuff that is to happen, but the internet is not necessarily silent, and I'm bound to always just be looking at stuff, even whether it's intentionally or unintentionally. And who knows, maybe I'll have the last episode spoiled before I watch it. But I figured, maybe it won't be spoiled. Who knows?
Speaking of something else.
Yeah.
So recently, Game of Thrones celebrated 10 years.
Okay. And the HBO?
Yeah, the series.
Okay.
And no one cared.
I didn't notice. Was it like...
It's like... It's HBO like trying to be like this big thing. It's like celebrating 10 years. No one picked up on it at all. No one really cared at all. Yeah.
Interesting.
Like, that's just how bad... like things got in the final season.
Yeah.
That's like no one even cares about the series anymore.
Yeah. I mean, you can't deny its success, but at the same time, it was really surprising how bad the last season was.
Here's the thing, like 5 years ago, the show ruled the world.
Yeah,
you couldn't like go anywhere without people talking about the show or loving it. And now, like, no one talks about it, no one cares anymore. Which is...
Do you feel like they would redo an 8th season in the future? Or
here's the thing, they could try, but I don't think the actors would even...
True. At this point, it'd have to be rebooted.
I mean, I don't think they'll really do that anytime soon.
In 50 years. We'd have our Iron Man reboot. We'd have our Star Wars reboot. We'd have our Game of Thrones
don't
reboot.
you dare touch Star Wars.
Well, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen one of these days.
It's already been rebooted.
How so?
It's already been rebooted in that Disney bought the rights, got rid of all the canon from all the books and video games that came out from years before, and decided to start over.
So the sequel series is technically. I don't want to get into Star Wars.
Yeah, don't do that.
All right.
Yeah, show me this list.
Also, so
where's the bottom? Where's the bottom?
Just a moment. The only TV show I've seen is Agent Carter. So I haven't seen WandaVision, only the first episode of Falcon. Also, the pilot of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is, I feel like it's a show that I will watch eventually.
Yeah.
But it didn't engage me enough that I felt like I was dying to see the rest of it. Also, I have interest in Cloak and Dagger and Jessica Jones.
Okay.
They just look interesting.
Yeah,
like the concept of.
There's a lot of stuff in Jessica Jones. It's kind of edgy and like too far.
But I thought I heard that it might not be. It's not as violent or gory, at least, right?
Oh, I mean, there's a lot. It's not really as gory, but there's some gore, and there's a lot of sexual stuff.
It's like the concept of this show intrigued me, and it's not that like it's the next thing I'm watching.
The villain,
but it's interesting.
The villain for the first season of that show is probably like the best villain in Marvel. Like the actor who plays him does a fantastic job. Like he's the scariest Marvel villain in the MCU. Like if this is even still part of the MCU. Yeah,
no, it was just. Like, it's the concept of the show that intrigues me. I don't know when I'm going to see it. But, like, if I ever get to a point where I have absolutely nothing to do with my life, which is not necessarily going to happen, especially if I keep doing YouTube.
Yeah.
I always have stuff to do.
It's also the part where the show starts connecting with other shows.
Yeah, that might be my folly.
I mean, not heavily. Like... But you do like have like one character that shows up in the end of the first season, and you're supposed to be like, "Oh my gosh, that's that character."
The collective is called the Defenders, right?
Yes.
I saw something that they were considering including them in Infinity War, but they decided that it was too many characters at that point, especially them not being in any of the movies. It would have been too weird to just throw them in.
I really wish they put them in there.
Yeah.
Just put him in there. If you're gonna do all out in Endgame, just put him in there. Just
Infinity War, not Endgame, but obviously it would have been in Endgame, I think.
Yeah, like just.
I get that.
At least give us Daredevil.
I mean, like the idea of having them connect more instead of it's an entity that's connected but not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, it would have been nice if there were more connections. But at least we got our Agent Carter stuff in Endgame.
Yeah. And that's just more like sprinkled hits.
Yeah,
more than.
But at least
at least they got the guy.
Yeah,
which is really nice.
Pretty huge. Yeah. Anyways, so
tier list.
D tier.
Let me see this.
You want to see it?
I want to see it.
Okay, so are you gonna read it out loud then?
No, but I just.
But they have to.
I want to glance at how you do this.
Okay,
first.
Fine. All right, you glance at it.
I'm good to glance at it. Okay.
John is glancing at
I'm glancing at it. Okay.
All right. D tier. I'm basically gonna go. I relatively rank them, so I'll just go.
Okay.
In that order. So pretty much my least favorite movie is Avengers.
It's okay.
No, tell me.
I mean, that's really interesting.
Why is it interesting?
I don't know, because I feel like the first Avengers is definitely one of the better movies of the series.
And why do you think it's one of the better ones in the series?
I mean, of course, it's like the first time all these characters came together. It has a decent story to go with it. The banter of the characters is fun and believable. Then it's fine. It's good.
Looking at it, coming off like the individual, somewhat origin story movies where we saw character development.
Sure.
There wasn't much of that in the Avengers.
I don't really think you needed that.
And I get that, but I was enjoying that concept so much.
Mm-hmm.
And especially coming off of Captain America, where he basically has to readjust to new life, and there was relatively none of that in the Avengers. Pretty much the most we got of him trying to adjust was a deleted scene.
Yeah, I mean, there was like a tiny bit of him adjusting, which is just
A tiny bit, but
jokes mainly.
yeah, but you would think that he'd be more like, "What's this? I have no idea." You know, everyone else is somewhat comfortable. Obviously, the ship that they're on is still kind of like, high tech or whatever. So anyone who goes in there is going to be like, "Whoa!" But especially him, he seemed too comfortable. Does that make sense?
I mean,
Anyway.
he was comfortable in, like, his movie when he got into the Hydra base with all this stuff. Like, he's a soldier. Like, things happen, and he just moves on.
Well, I mean, do you expect to wake up 70 years later? Like, that's gonna shock anybody, soldier or not.
No.
I mean, those are some of my thoughts. I mean, it could so happen that I could go back and enjoy it more.
Mm-hmm.
But also, there's another aspect.
Okay.
That will be definitely seen more as we go on in this list. But the first encounters with a character can be rough.
Okay.
For example, like you read a book series.
Sure.
And then you read it again. But that first one is one of the hardest to read because you're seeing them kind of inserted into a new situation. For example, the one I'm thinking of right now is Left Behind the Kids. 4 kids that we're basically following. Okay?
Yeah, okay.
Now, maybe by the time we get to even book 5, they're working together, they trust each other. But I read book 1 again at one point, and I'm like, it's so hard to read because they don't know each other, they don't trust each other, there's distrust, and like, it's going to be very similar, like when we see Guardians Galaxy 3 with the 2014 Gamora
Sure.
running around in present time, and Star-Lord is gonna try to reconnect with her, and she already was showing signs of resistance at the end of Endgame with that, so which harkens very similar to the first one, but it's hard to see that restart. You know what I mean? So
you're saying that, like, if you were to watch it again, it might be difficult seeing them not really trust each other in the beginning.
that is one thing, but also even watching it the first time, like a good portion of the movie is them just arguing.
Yeah,
And
but it makes sense.
it makes sense, especially in the with Tony Stark. Him being very individualistic. Well, I mean, yeah. He's very used to working on his own, and to work with other people is very much like, I don't like doing this.
And, like, a part of it is also the influence of the villain Loki working on them, which is fine. But I think your criticism about, like, rewatching it again with them not trusting each other, I think that's not really a big...
Well, I
don't think a lot of people have that opinion. Because I think that most people, when they, like, start over something, and we have characters who haven't met each other, like, I think they're just excited. It's like, oh, like, I know the journey that they have at the end, so it's just really exciting to see, like, the small beginnings, and it's like, oh, funny, I know what's gonna happen.
I guess, like, I am an emotional, interrelational type person. That I don't like seeing, something broken or fresh.
Sure.
Or new like that. I like to see things established. And so, despite not yet rewatching the Avengers yet, just that first, glance of it, and then yeah, I don't know. Like in the end, I think it was just made to be made. I don't mean that in a bad way, but it was made to have the 6 people together and fight for one common goal, and that was the point of the movie.
Sure.
So
I don't think I would have liked it as much if it was just we had to focus on much more personal life of the characters.
Mm-hmm.
And while I get it, like those things do exist, I would rather just enjoy all these characters together doing stuff.
Mm-hmm. Which is ironic because later on, Infinity War is high on my list, and that one is pretty much all action.
Yeah.
So it's almost ironic or even contradictory, with my words right now. That one was a culmination.
On top of that, Infinity War, there's much more movies setting up that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Versus this one, where it's just the minimal setup.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's a good point. There was Infinity War is such a culmination of things. That
we should probably continue because we're still in the first movie.
True. All right. Second least favorite and last one on D tier is Iron Man 3.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, in general, I enjoyed it because it was Iron Man. And I guess my biggest struggle with it was I did not understand the motivation of the villain. Yeah. So he gets, Tony Stark doesn't...
Yeah, the villain...
talk to him, and so now the villain is like, no, I want to kill Tony Stark. Like, wow. That's I don't know.
Yeah, the villain in this one is just very disappointing because on top of that, there's the idea of the villain from the comics, the Mandarin.
Yeah.
Which is this big deal. Mm-hmm. And they hired, the fake Mandarin who... Everyone thought oh my gosh, he's perfect for the role. Mm-hmm. He's got the voice down, he looks cool. Mm-hmm. And then they did the bait and switch where it's that's not even the real Mandarin. And it's oh, well that's bull crap. It's what is this?
For one who's not seen read the comics, I don't have that connection with the Mandarin.
Even that, even though I'd never read the comics, the idea that this guy, this cool looking guy, wasn't the Mandarin, it was just this wimp.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I thought that concept was kind of cool.
Sure. It was cool, but it was also oh, really?
I kind of get that.
Disappointing.
Yeah, there was a little sense of what?
This orange stuff. Okay.
But it was both cool and disappointing at the same time.
I think Iron Man 3 is one of those movies that ages better. I enjoy more on when I watch it every time than I did the first time.
That makes sense.
I did not like it the first time.
Mm-hmm. Also, the subplot of PTSD was terrible, I thought.
I thought it was fine.
It just felt forced. Oh, we have some extra time. Let's give him a little something.
I think it worked because it's how many people do you know went through a wormhole with a nuclear missile into space? Mm-hmm. And fell to the ground after fighting a battle of aliens. Mm-hmm. You don't see the PTSD in the movie because he's in the middle of it.
Yeah, I get that.
But it's one of those rare things that you don't really see a whole lot in movies, especially superhero movies where the character is struggling with that first time.
That makes some sense. I guess one of my issues following that is that we never see it again. Now, okay, maybe there's some reverberations of it in Ultron.
Well, not some. Part of it in Ultron, slightly maybe in Civil War, you could say, but not so much.
I felt like Civil War is more or less just the continuation of Ultron, not necessarily the PTSD aspect. I think it was more just guilt of Ultron than necessarily PTSD.
It depends on how you view it.
Okay, fair.
But yeah.
But
I get what you mean. But I feel his PTSD thing was also him in that movie was him overcoming his PTSD. Which isn't really something that you do a whole lot in real life, but it's a superhero. That's what you want him to do.
Yeah. Maybe they could have made that clear. I don't know.
I think they did make it clear with his closing speech.
Okay, then I don't remember that.
Yeah.
All right.
Again, it's a movie that I think gets better through time and multiple viewings than just the first time.
That makes sense.
Where you are right now with that
Avengers.
movie, I think makes sense.
Yeah. C tier. Third least favorite in general is Civil War.
Okay. I've
mentioned kind of my history with Civil War. So first off, actually viewing it was an interesting experience. Basically, in short, I saw 3/4 of it without sound, so it was weird kind of watching it.
Okay.
But also, it had a very good concept. I loved the concept. The concept from the get-go, I'm like, this is awesome. Because, they're out there destroying things and, the aftermath is not touched upon until this movie. And I loved that concept. But I didn't like the execution of it in general. And plus, it makes sense, but the ending was not necessarily ended on a cliffhanger, but it just kind of ended like that I didn't feel satisfied.
Yeah, the ending itself wasn't the most satisfying. I do agree with you. Like, I was disappointed with this movie when it first came out. Like, I loved the first half of the movie. And then things shifted and they had their big battle. And I'm like, yeah, sure, the big battle was cool, but I wasn't really as invested. Like, the final battle between our three main heroes was like, that's what I wanted the whole movie to be about. Because that's the story of Civil War, like right there. And it's just that small bit versus all fun heroes fighting together just to have that Civil War thing. But yeah, I was disappointed because Civil War is, in the comics, a huge scale thing. Where it's like all the heroes in the whole universe are fighting each other. And it's a war. It's big. Here it's just not even a war. And it's just like, 12 guys. Boo-boo.
Also, I'm really curious, though, how the Accords are going to play out in the future. Like, did they scrap them? Or do they still exist? You know what I mean?
They do. Like it's...
I know, basically the last mention of them was Infinity War.
But, there is part of it's also in the first episode of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Also.
He's fighting with the military, but also, remember, he couldn't cross the border. And so that's part of it. He's contracted to be on that one ground because the country is letting him do it. And he's not allowed to go into the other country.
Okay. Also,
that's where the Accords come into place.
Falcon was on Captain's side in Civil War. That's what I was thinking throughout that first episode.
And then he got a plea deal. Pretty much all the heroes that escape after finishing Endgame, they got a plea deal of some kind where they're exalted.
Okay.
What does that mean?
Honored?
No,
or excused?
Honored/excused of previous crimes.
Which I kind of understand.
But they have to follow under the Accords.
So are they all just automatically, without them signing, you have to?
Sure. I don't know.
I guess honestly, we will see.
They don't really explain it a whole lot, but, it's there.
We will see, because here's another thing with Civil War, as I realized, we don't really, at the end of Civil War, Rhodey's paralyzed. and that never comes into play in the future.
Yep.
And so, sometimes their subplots in these Marvel movies are not good. Because they don't follow through with
Honestly, I really felt like Rhodey should have died in that movie. Because that would have really sparked, the Civil War. Where it's now it's gotten real.
Well, the crux of that was finding out that Winter Soldier...
I know, but you still should have killed Rhodey. because I don't believe that he should have survived that fall.
Fair. Well, honestly, it's a wonder that they're still alive, any of them. Period.
Yeah.
So, just saying.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, you watch some of these things, like, you see that cut and like, they should have died right in that moment.
All right, let's move on.
All right. Thor
Which one?
first.
Yeah, that makes
Which
sense.
I enjoyed a lot. I did.
it's an enjoyable movie, but
But
it's like
looking back,
it's not my favorite. It's just the tone of it is just not appealing to me.
I think that just in general, the first two Thor movies, I think they're honestly really enjoyable, but at the same time, there's an element where it feels kind of basic at the same time.
Yeah, it's pretty basic.
And honestly, like, I really struggled because I'm looking at the list and there's a lot of things I enjoy.
Yeah, I didn't really care about Thor when it first came out.
I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. Like again, just looking at this list, like, honestly, I probably could have moved Thor into the B tier, but then that pretty much would just left like Civil War in C.
Which leads us to our next one.
Guardians of the Galaxy, same situation. Not loved. I think I probably enjoyed upon first impact Thor more than Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay.
Guardians of the Galaxy just felt really short. Like, it just, like, I'm assuming it was a 2-hour movie. It didn't even feel like 2 hours.
Oh, that's interesting. I would put Guardians up higher because I enjoy it more than Thor.
I have Guardians.
I like this one more than the second one.
Okay, I have the second one up higher, which, thinking about it, maybe I would have put a little lower. I don't know.
It has to do more with the personal character thing?
I think it was more or less the relationship between Star-Lord and Gamora.
Okay, yeah.
I like, it was enjoyable seeing them, like, starting to trust each other more, and then now we have to start from the beginning again.
Yeah.
Which I'm just glad we have. It seems like we're having Gamora back. I'm excited about that, but I'm really upset that we kind of have to start over again. But yeah, I guess, like, I was just, like, surprised just, like, how quickly things seem to happen in Guardians of the Galaxy. And, like, wow. I thought we had 1 hour left and the movie's done. So
no, I felt like the movie was a good length and a good pace.
Okay. I mean, like, in the end, 2 hours is a good length. It just happened faster than I expected it to.
Okay.
So that's me. Again, honestly, both Thor and Guardians of the Galaxy probably could have been B tier, but B tier is stacked, and so
we
have a lot of.
Oh, is that B tier?
Yeah, we have a lot of stuff in B tier.
Okay.
Captain America: Winter Soldier was originally in my C tier, but I decided to bump it up.
A good choice, yeah.
Just it wasn't bad. I think, like, it was, again, relationships. It was kind of fun. I think the thing that kind of made me bump it up, it was fun seeing the interactions between Captain America and Black Widow. Like, them trying to work together and introducing Falcon, which I'm surprised how quickly they were to trust him. Like, Captain America met him once, and then he's the only person he can trust other than Black Widow.
Sure, yeah.
I'm like, what? But also his loyalty to Winter Soldier.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, you were my friend, and I believe you can change. Like, is, again, very admirable qualities of Captain America. And honestly, I think, again, the movie could be ranked up higher in the future.
Okay.
Next up is Endgame. It's an interesting movie.
Yeah.
I'm glad it wasn't Infinity War Part 2. You know what I mean? Like, they were originally gonna call it that, and then they're like, no, we're gonna have a different title because it's a different movie.
Yeah.
Which I think was a very solid choice, because it is. Regardless, after Tony Stark died, I just wanted the movie to end. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Like, I wanted to cry in the corner not, I didn't feel like, I just felt like the ending was just a little long for my taste.
I don't really feel that.
Okay. Well, I was really sad at the
I
end.
mean, sure, like, there's a... Endgame is fine.
Uh-huh.
There's a lot of things I don't really like the way they handled some characters, like Hulk and Thor. Like, yeah, they're funny to see, but it's like, I don't know, I don't feel like...
Hulk I get, though.
Like Hulk is like the big one, where it's like, what happened?
Yeah.
Like, where's the in-between?
I think it really... The only reason why they did that is so that he could snap.
Yep.
So that he could be sane enough, but big enough to do it.
And, like, for Thor, I don't like because we had the previous movie of him becoming, like, the king. And then this time it's like, I don't want to be king. Give it to someone else. And it's like, what? Really?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
What I'm more or less afraid of is how is this going to affect him as a character in the future? And also, yeah, I don't know. It's... Like, it was funny in terms of the movie context, but in terms of the overall context, I see 100% what you're saying.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it was... The movie was so much more expositional than...
And it was longer than it needed to be. Like...
To some degree,
I mean, there's a lot of just shots that just linger for way too long.
Yeah.
Because it's like, yeah, it's the big one. Let's just go all out and make it longer.
Also, really thinking about it, the whole Soul Stone part, I don't know, man. For how much effort it seems like they made to plan out the stuff, and then the two go, and they're like, oh wait, we have to die? It's like, yeah? You know what I mean? Like, you didn't think that through? That's what...
I don't think they knew how to get the Soul Stone.
But didn't... I mean, I have to rewatch it, but didn't Nebula say that Gamora was sacrificed?
No.
No?
They just... All they know is that, she went with Thanos, but she didn't come back.
Okay.
And that was it.
I mean, I would have figured that
also,
there would have
the only... Also, only... All the people there died with a snap, except for Iron Man and Nebula. So...
But... I'd have to go back and look at that.
Yeah, really I don't think they really...
Okay. Well, if they didn't really, but at the same time, especially considering Thor the Asgardian, he probably would have been able to find something related to the Soul Stone.
Probably not.
I mean, don't they have their books? I don't know.
No, the books were all destroyed.
Yeah. Alright, next up is Black Panther. I went into that movie wanting to understand why it was such a cultural phenomenon. I wasn't able to get that, but I was able to get a nice conversation in regards to how do we respect our traditions, but also move on with the things that we're learning, which I thought was a very interesting conversation. I guess maybe some of the spiritual aspects didn't sit well with me.
Okay.
But it wasn't a bad movie, because I feel like there's some people who are like, it's a trash movie. And there's some people like, it's the most amazing thing. And I'm like, it's definitely not trash, but I don't think it's as amazing as it was hyped to be. I think I just saw so many extremes that I am just purely in the middle, where it's, or more so positive, but it's like, it's not bad, but it's not, I don't understand the deep impact of the movie.
I think the deep impact was like this huge superhero movie with like pretty much an all black cast, which I think that's what people were like so amazed by.
So, do you think with the movie that they're releasing in September, it's gonna be very similar?
Which one?
The Asian. They released the poster today.
What movie?
I don't know the name of it. I'll pull it up.
Like, what's it supposed to be? What is it?
Marvel.
New Marvel?
Yeah,
I didn't see the poster. No.
Okay. Apparently a teaser released, okay.
Shang-Chi? Legend of the Ten Rings? I don't think so. Mainly because, one, Black Panther was a character that was previously introduced in Civil War,
Mm-hmm.
and he's a really cool character that people were excited to see his story,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's pretty much it. Where that one, no one knows anything about that character
Okay.
or what's going on, except for the comic book people.
Okay. I mean, there is a small aspect about the Ten Rings, but it's like, all right, so they're back again. You know what I mean?
All right, I'll watch that later.
Yeah. No, I haven't seen it. You just posted.
All right, let's go
Very
back to our list here.
But especially just right now with the whole Stop Asian Hate thing, could make the movie bigger than.
I didn't understand that whole.
I will be honest. I have schoolwork. I really am mentally dying right now. It's hard for me to understand stuff right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe after school I can sit down and try to understand what's going on. But all right, next up is Ant-Man and then Ant-Man and Wasp.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They're enjoyable movies.
Yeah.
I kind of like. There's like a different side to it all. Like compared to like the other movies. I think I again enjoyed Wasp more because you see relationships deepen a little more. But I don't really know much else to say about that.
Okay.
They're fun. Next up is Captain Marvel. I think I remembered after watching it kind of like just feeling emotionally impacted and like trying to understand where that came from. And so like trying to like I don't necessarily agree with kind of like the overall message of you are your highest power or something. Like it's how they did it still intrigues me. I like a lot of aspects about the movie. But also thinking about it, trying like diving deep into it. There's a handful of aspects that I more or less disagree with, but I think it was well done. I know a lot of people will disagree with me on that.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
I'm not going to say anything else
Okay,
about this
fine.
movie.
I will also, in connection to Endgame, a lot of people were expecting Captain Marvel to, play a bigger part in Endgame. First off, I saw those things, so I kind of knew straight up that she wouldn't. But also, second off, I think her parts were well played in Endgame.
Yeah.
Where she only came in when necessary, and that she was even neutralized by the Power Stone.
The actress was a better actress in Endgame.
Okay.
On top of that, I believe it was like she filmed Endgame first.
Oh, did she?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't know that. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I bet
Sure.
they don't even know.
Yeah. And so let's move on.
Okay. But, yeah, I didn't think it was that bad. Next up, I have Thor Dark World.
Okay.
Okay.
This is probably like one of my least favorite Marvel movies.
I guess... I don't remember... Maybe it was because I watched Agent Carter before it, so I thought the ether had a connection with the dark matter stuff. Maybe I also just liked seeing, again, relationship stuff. Not just with Jane, but with Loki as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't remember why so high. Again, it could drop or it could stay the same. I don't know, but
All right.
first impressions kind of there. Next up and last ones in the B tier are the two Spider-Mans. Again, as we've seen with a pattern, the sequel I enjoyed a little more than the original, but honestly not by much, because there are some aspects of the second one that really annoy me.
Okay.
That one scene when Mysterio is like, all right, now, so we hate everyone. You hate this person for that reason. Is such a weird scene to me. I think it's one of the worst scenes in these movies I've seen. It is so like, all right, we have to tell the audience why we're upset. You know what I mean?
Okay.
instead of kind of letting play things out where you didn't have to like explain everything. You know what I mean? Like, it's so weird to me. Like, and then it was a little trippy with like the hallucinations ish, the projections that Spider-Man went through.
I mean, those were really cool.
It was cool, but it was also like, what's going on? You know what I mean?
I mean, I was excited of that because like that's Mysterio's thing, and I just really liked that they did Mysterio well enough.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Okay. It was fine. Yeah. I think also the one thing that I didn't like about Civil War was Peter Parker. I thought he was annoying in that, which I get, you know, first time being around, so he's excited, but it just honestly came across as annoying. And so him more in his element in these two movies, I enjoyed. I know a handful of people don't necessarily like this Peter Parker, but this is the only Peter Parker I know.
It's really mainly just a handful of people. Because most people, like, this is the best Spider-Man.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I disagree, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I enjoyed it. And then also, you know, relationships. Why not? I mean, whatever.
Alright. So A tier.
But they're... Yeah. At the end of A tier, we have Thor Ragnarok.
Okay.
I think just that one scene alone with Thor and Hulk battling it out, kind of just like, because like that's you're kind of like going into it. I mean, I knew Hulk was in it, but you know, you're going into it. Oh, I'm here to see Thor, and Hulk's there. You know what I mean? It's so cool. I think that's such a cool crossover.
Yeah.
It's a fun concept. It's the whole time in that realm despite it being like, you could almost say it's unnecessary. You know what I mean? Like, you know, oh, he gets trapped in this area for 45 minutes or something that doesn't necessarily relate to that much of the rest of the movie to a degree. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But it's enjoyable. You know? So
and like this is where like Thor's comedy just skyrockets to something new level.
Yeah.
For me personally, I think the comedy in this movie, in most comedy things, I think they're enjoyable the first couple times around.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like definitely just for me, I don't really care much about the comedy. Just longer I see it.
Mm. One of my favorite moments though is when Hulk slaps Thor around and Loki's like, yes! That's how it feels! Cracked me up.
Yes.
That was so funny.
And so next up, let's see.
Iron Man 2.
That's really interesting. Because most people don't really care for it. I think Iron Man 2 for me, I feel like is really underrated. Because I really enjoyed that one.
First off, third one isn't that great, so I feel like with that in mind, kind of elevates the second one a little more.
Okay.
But yeah, what's wrong with me? I think the story is fun and enjoyable, and it's not a huge disappointment like the third one. And again, I like Iron Man, so I'm bound to kind of like that one.
Also, Spider-Man is in that one.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
That's cool.
I'm kind of skipping that.
Which one?
I technically, because the way this thing had...
Agent Carter. Yeah. Okay.
The thing that this had, like, they had, like, all 7 posters for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like, you don't even know which one is which at this point.
Okay.
But because they had it, I had this second season, Agent Carter in A tier, but it's not necessarily, I'll get to it when I get to S tier.
And so then you have Guardians 2?
Yeah. Again, I think Guardians is fun and enjoyable overall. Again, relationships. I honestly, kind of thinking about it a little bit, like, it's cool that, you know, Peter meets his father, but at the same time, the more I think about it, the less I like it.
Sure,
that aspect. So, I don't know. But also, baby Groot, come on.
Sure, yeah.
So that's like I just like, I tend to like this character sometimes. So Um,
And then we have the S tier.
S tier, Age of Ultron. Oh yeah.
It's a movie that I don't think is aged the best, but yeah. I enjoyed Age of Ultron.
With Captain America Civil War feeling more like an Avengers movie, Age of Ultron almost feels like an Iron Man movie. Almost. Not really,
okay.
but kind of. Because in the end, this whole thing is Tony's fault. So a lot of it kind of revolves around him.
Yeah.
And so like he has a sense of guilt of, a potential future. And so he seeks to, he tries to take it all on his own, tries to fix it, ends up messing everything up. Like, I don't know. When you compare it to like the first Avengers, like even Loki's motivation in that isn't that great. I kind of get that in the end it was kind of Thanos who sent him, but at the same time that wasn't well developed. And even if we didn't get a lot of like seeing Tony Stark thinking about this, it makes sense where he's coming from.
Like, this makes sense. The thing about this movie, though, is that while I think overall, like, it has some really fun stuff, it gets messy at parts. Like, we have this trying to be the sequel, while also this heavily is trying to set up even more sequels as well. Like, it's...
Well, I feel like Civil War was trying even harder to set up more stuff.
I don't think so. I think this one was more, because like this one is trying to set up like Civil War with the whole thing. It's trying to set up Thor Ragnarok, but not very well. The possible potential of a Black Widow movie at this point of time when this came out. It had the Hulk and Black Widow romance, which wasn't that great.
I mean, like, the only way it could have felt good in the end is if they expanded more on it in Endgame.
Sure.
They ditched it again. Another subplot that they're like, oh, this happened.
Yeah. And then I think probably the big ones that people didn't really care for were the new parts of this movie, like Wanda and her brother. Yeah.
Why not?
Because Wanda, like, especially in this movie, it's just like, who's this chick? She does weird stuff, but she wasn't really that interesting in this movie. And especially, like, her brother. Like, he's supposed to be, like, Quicksilver. A part of it is also, like, the year before this one came out was the X-Men movie where Quicksilver was in that movie. And he was, like, fantastic. Then you come to this one where he's like, oh, he's lame and he gets killed. Okay. So.
I wasn't too sure how I felt about him getting killed.
Yeah, besides that, like, Ultron, really fun villain. Vision, yeah, I think he's good.
I'm not super crazy about Vision because it's such an interesting concept. I feel like it's something I'm still kind of digesting. I kind of enjoyed at least the introduction of Wanda, and so I'm very intrigued of how the WandaVision series is going to be.
I think this one, I prefer how they explain her powers in WandaVision versus how it's explained here.
Okay.
Here it's like, oh, it's just this weird stuff that happens from an experiment. It's like, well, that's not how her character is. It's like, okay. Well,
okay.
They do a much better job in WandaVision, while also the finale kind of does some stuff.
Well, I'm somewhat aware of the finale.
Okay.
So, or very aware. Again, I know I've known a lot of facts, but not necessarily intentions or
the
process
context. Yeah.
And context.
Next up here,
Infinity War.
Yeah.
Again,
I think that's a good one here.
Yeah, just a good. We've been setting things up. Really enjoyed, And for a movie that's almost straight action, it doesn't feel tiring.
Yeah, and I really love the ending in this one.
Yeah,
I really love the ending.
It was a good idea on their end.
Like, great job, you did it.
Yeah.
But you ruined it with the sequel by bringing them back.
Which...
I don't know. It's fine.
I mean, it makes sense why they had to do it.
Yeah, I mean, this is like a classic cartoon cliffhanger. Where it's like, oh no, they're in a trap, what's going to happen? Next episode, yay, they're back.
Yeah, it kind of does make Endgame a little underwhelming. But also, what I wonder is, why did it take them 5 years to decide to do this? Oh, right. It's Ant-Man. He was in the quantum realm for 5 years, so he basically is the reason. Forgot about that. All right, whatever. Next up, S tier. So basically, my third favorite movie would be Captain America: First Avenger.
The first one. Interesting. Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I think of it kind of being a period piece was very fascinating. Like it's one of those movies within the MCU that didn't necessarily feel part of the MCU, but it was at the same time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was just saying, the second one is Doctor Strange. Like, that one also didn't necessarily feel like part, like, it didn't, one could have just watched it and did not care for the rest of Marvel, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, Doctor Strange, I think...
We're kind of not there, but go on.
Okay, but yeah. Doctor Strange, for me, was like... I think was a really fantastic movie when it first came out. I don't think it really holds up well in more viewings, but it was definitely a good first watch.
Back to Captain America, again, I love the character of Peggy Carter. Love her. So that's a huge thing. I think that's kind of the period aspect, the Peggy Carter, and I really enjoyed it overall. And then, yeah, with Doctor Strange, I think it's the concept that's so fascinating to me. Because I don't feel like it's touched a lot. I can't necessarily say in movies because I don't know, because I don't watch a lot of movies, but just in general. Like, even like in daily conversation, like the idea of realms or, the supernatural or time. And it's not something that I know a lot or can discuss a lot about. It's one of those things where I find very interesting, but I don't have a lot of time on my hands to try to dive into. Yeah. And so
I feel like a lot of movies don't really like to touch on magic because they feel like it's just a cheap gimmick. It's like, oh, just magic. You can't really explain magic. Yeah. So they'll just try to make this fake explanation for magic where I think more now they're like, just magic. Yeah. That's just how we're going to explain it. Magic.
Yeah. So, like, even there, like, the process of him, like, trying to understand the powers. Like, it's not just, oh, all right, now you can do it. It's like, no, you have to kind of be, like, in tune with it. So, which I thought was a very interesting concept. As we kind of talked about, because this allowed me to have TV shows, Agent Carter is next up. Yeah. Love the character. Really enjoyed the show. I think another reason why it's up higher than Captain America is because we just see her character develop more. Okay. Because, like, because in writing, the first Avenger, I don't think they had a TV show in mind. You know what I mean? No. Yeah, it was kind of like, we have this character, and it's probably the only time we're going to use her. She fulfilled her purpose. Great character. But, they gave her more room to breathe and grow and develop as a person in the TV show. Yeah. And, again, the period piece is very fun and fascinating. Like, again, if you didn't care about Marvel, but you still like a little sci-fi, the period and the little bit of sci-fi and a great character makes for a great show. Okay, yeah. Iron Man is up top. And I'll be honest, I'm not completely sure how I feel with that personally. when I look at all this, like, there's so many enjoyable movies. So many enjoyable movies. There's only a few that I don't really like that much. And most all of them I enjoyed to a large extent. So honestly, just doing this tier list is hard. There's so many reasons why there's so many movies in the B tier, because there's not necessarily bad movies in all of this. And when I look at Iron Man, I feel like there's a lot of aspects where it's still commendable, but also a handful of aspects that I don't like about it. Namely, the editing, I am not a fan of. There's a handful of continuity errors.
Okay.
I understand that this movie was largely improvised, so that kind of makes shooting it a little hard, but at the same time, and also kind of diving into the world. Maybe if I watch it back again, maybe I'll like it even more. But, you know, it's hard to get into the world a little bit. But it was, again, the character of Tony Stark that got me into all of this. I loved the character, and so I wanted to see more. And so I think kind of with that in mind makes me appreciate... Like, that is kind of the reason why I put it up top, is because it's responsible for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's also just a well-made film for the most part.
And also, the character development is great.
It's like, everything that movie, I think, has aged well for the most part. Even just to the CGI, I think this movie holds up better than a lot of stuff that we got since then. Like, the Iron Man suit is, I think, the best in this movie. Especially the CGI for that suit just looks better than the way it looks in Endgame and Infinity War. Like, my gosh, I don't know what they were doing.
Well, looking into it, like, it was the type of suit that he chose, but it doesn't even look that powerful. You know what I mean?
Which one?
Endgame or Infinity War.
Well, yeah, for me, it's like not so much the design, but more so just how CG it looks. It just doesn't look like he's wearing a suit at all.
Yeah. I mean, like, I was looking at, like, reading up on, like, the nano aspect of the suit, and I found it very interesting, and it fit the purpose for the movie.
Sure, yeah.
But at the same time, like, it just didn't really feel like it's that much of a suit compared to his other suits. And pretty much all the other movies. Yeah, and plus,
like, the journey of Iron Man through these movies is just improving his suit. Like, you see him with his normal suit and how long it takes. You have the second one where it's like, okay, let's try to make this faster. Okay, suitcase.
Yeah.
Avengers, it's like, okay, got attack here, just whoosh. And the third one is just rocket launch towards him. And then eventually just nano.
Yeah. I wish we understood. I wish they dove more into the nano thing. Now, looking at the movie, I don't necessarily think we had time to.
No.
I think it would have hindered the flow. But at the same time, it's such an interesting idea, but it's not necessarily discussed.
Yeah.
And so I wish it was. Even if they made, like, a one-shot of, you know, Tony Stark in his lab trying to make stuff, you know what I mean? Like, you know, that's just me. But yeah, I have some hesitation of putting it first, because with all these I have issues, but with almost all of them I really enjoy immensely. And so ranking them was difficult. That's why I didn't want to do it during the semester, because I knew it would be so hard. But then I'm just like, you know what, I'm gonna just do it.
Yeah.
So looking at the list, I've talked about, like, some of my reservations of, you know, how I feel about a lot of this. But, you know, maybe some of these, like, I feel like this could change. I don't know why I put that there, even though I just did this yesterday. But it's so hard to rank 22 things. I think it's 22 here. I don't know. Is Hulk part of 22, or is that 23? I don't know. But, you know, it's not an easy task. So, at either rate, general sense, I've enjoyed the sequels more, because we saw the characters develop more, their relationships develop more. I don't know if this was necessarily reflected in this, but just in general, the singular or even just origin stories are so cool, I think. story, character development were important. Humor can improve it. Those are some aspects where I think make some of these movies just stand out. So, what would be your like S tier? Like
my S tier?
Yeah. Like, I guess maybe we don't have enough time, or you have to think about it.
We don't really have enough time for me to just do it all.
Yeah.
But
maybe next week you bring your list.
Maybe.
Maybe. All right, but you want to just, like, S tier?
S tier, I think definitely.
Do you want to, like, look at stuff I have here so you can figure out what movies exist?
I know what exists. It's just... I don't know.
It's primitive.
Yeah.
Primitive S tier.
S tier, God tier. I don't think one movie has just, in terms of the best, has really made it that far. I think for me, most of them are just like an A. Mm-hmm. I think S tier for me would probably definitely like Iron Man maybe, and Infinity War. Mm-hmm. And some Captain America stuff, but yeah.
And least favorites would be Iron Man 3 and Thor 2?
I mean, more so Thor 2 than Iron Man 3.
Okay.
Definitely the Spider-Man movies.
Okay.
No.
No?
No, not for me.
Okay. Are you going to watch the third one? Eventually?
Depends. It really depends. Because I think the third one is like in a really tough spot right now. Because if all the rumors about the movie come out to be not true, that movie's gonna suck. Like it's not gonna be received well. It's like it's gonna be the most disappointing Spider-Man movie. It's like the rumors are so big, you don't even know. You know, but you don't even know.
I don't know the weight of them.
No. But yeah, the rumors, they're I want them to be true. I think the rumor and theory stuff, this is probably one of the levels that really can destroy film. Is they can become so good and so desirable that they could be something that the studio doesn't think of or can accomplish. And so
I'm just asking. Are the rumors that characters from the original movies are going to be in, or that the two previous Spider-Mans are going to be in, or is it both of them?
What do you mean by characters?
Because I thought I read somewhere like this random character from like 2004 Spider-Man is going to be in it, but I don't know who. Like, or that the actor is playing someone else. I don't know. I'm asking you.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming out. It's like, oh, we have it's the mainly big one is like these main Spider-Mans are coming in, plus some of the villains.
Question: why?
I mean, why?
Why would they?
Why would this thing happen?
Yeah.
I'd highly recommend that you'd watch just one movie, Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, that one.
Which explains everything.
Oh, really?
Like,
oh, okay.
Just watch that, and it's like you explains the potential and everything that happens, and you're like, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So would you expect that Spider-Man from that movie
Into the Spider-Verse?
In this movie?
I don't know how. Because Into the Spider-Verse is an animated movie. Yeah. They could try to do some weird animation plus live action.
Well, I don't think they
will, though. But I think...
But that character.
But it's more so the concept of the Spider-Verse. It's a big thing in the comics. But it's like, that could be something they can bring into this, which... Oh boy, I think I would love, because I love the Spider-Verse type stuff.
Okay. I may get to that movie eventually. Not saying I won't, but I was considering it a bit at some point. I'd probably watch that first before Jessica Jones. like that type of like. But how it's not an MCU movie.
No.
But it relates somehow. Like I get it, it's Marvel, it's Spider-Man, and yada yada.
I mean,
but
like relate somehow.
Yeah, like how like was it kind of made somewhat in conjunction with the MCU, or was it completely independent?
It was completely independent. It's like they wanted to do their own thing. They wanted to tell the story of Miles Morales, which I think you might like.
Okay.
You know, that personal.
So more
story.
or less, the reason why you're telling me to watch it is so I can understand the concept of the Spider-Verse.
I mean, besides that, also because it's a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
But
I saw a lot of people enjoying it.
It is one. It's honestly one of the best Spider-Man movies out there.
Okay.
Yeah. One that holds up really well. But yeah, there may be some things that you may not understand because you haven't seen like the original movies.
Yeah, it is what it is.
It's fine. You don't actually have to.
I may, but I'm not planning to right now.
Because like they just play those references as jokes.
Okay. Well,
But
like
you don't have to.
straight up, like I'm more interested in Spider-Verse than watching the older movies right now. So
that's fine.
Yeah.
Spider-Verse does have an appealing style to it.
Mm-hmm.
Which, yeah, just...
I heard that Doctor Strange is in this new Spider-Man, though.
I don't know about that,
Okay.
but maybe.
If he is in this, would you think that either helps or hurts the idea of the Spider-Verse for the movie?
I guess it could help.
Okay.
Magic.
Yeah, but like, would he be the magic in? Not that I understand the Spider-Verse.
I think it'd be more so like something happened and they go to Strange and be like, "Hey, explain this to me."
Kind of like in the Ragnarok.
Yeah, kind of like that.
Okay.
I don't think he would play like a huge role, but more like him in Ragnarok or Iron Man in the first Homecoming.
Okay. With now we've talked a little bit about Falcon and Winter Soldier. Like, do you have deeper thoughts about it?
I do not. No.
You do not. Okay. Because I was really wondering if like you had more thoughts that you were waiting to talk about until I saw it. You know what I mean?
I don't really have much deeper thoughts for it.
Okay. It's interesting, though. Like, I don't know fully how I feel about it. Like, I kind of... Now, again, I only watched one episode, but I almost liked how the second Spider-Man handled events after the blip than Falcon is.
I didn't like the way Spider-Man handled the blip.
You didn't?
No.
Okay. Why?
That one's played more for comedy, where like the blip isn't supposed to be like that, and just the stuff in Spider-Man, the way they do with this stuff in general, I just don't like.
Well, I guess with the Spider-Man thing, like, not that it was well done, but you know, Peter struggling with, Tony's death, and the responsibility of being a hero, and him trying to escape, the superhero life, which I feel like would be a pure struggle of a kid, but in Falcon so far, like, we don't know necessarily what happened to Steve Rogers. I'm honestly assuming at this point he died. I don't know for sure.
I mean, he's old.
Yeah. Like, but, it just... I guess it also just feels almost like a different world. Like, the Spider-Man movie feels like a different world than the world that Falcon's living in right now.
And that's like probably because like they do the story differently. Like Spider-Man, they play it off more comedically, while Falcon and Winter Soldier like takes it more seriously. Like the blip has meaning. Like, oh, we can't help you with the bank because you we're gone for so many long. It's like nothing we can do here.
Did you see on Twitter how people were so upset at Tony Stark for that bank scene?
For what?
People were upset.
About the what thing?
Like, so Tony Stark didn't pay the Avengers? That was like trending on Twitter for like 2 days after that episode released. You don't care?
I don't really care. No.
Which, like, someone made a good point that, you know, Falcon was on Captain's side, so obviously he wouldn't necessarily get paid anyways for a while. Stark, even if he did pay.
And plus, like, Falcon was, like, dead for Tony, so Tony wouldn't be able to help him at all, because he died before he even got a chance to. So, sure, maybe Tony helped the ones that were still alive, but... Yeah.
And so, I don't know. Like,
Like, he like, kind of gave up on the other ones. Like, up until the time travel thing came up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't think that's a big thing that needs to be cared about.
But also, like, the Endgame thing, like, it's really crazy because, like, the majority of those events, like, happen, like, in 2 days. Like, looking into it. Like, that scene when Tony Stark realizes that the time travel thing can be done was the night before.
Plus, I think, like,
battle.
Money would have come from the government, like S.H.I.E.L.D.
That makes sense. Well, no, the government.
I mean, like, S.H.I.E.L.D., like, in the beginning. And then the U.S. government.
So, yeah. So, I don't know. I think if you're really going to dive into that, then maybe it could have used a more better explanation.
They've never actually set up, like, how does this work? How do they get their money? Like, how?
And I don't think that's a great... I don't think it's a necessary aspect.
And I don't think Tony was ever, like, the one who was just, here's the paycheck. It's like, he let the Avengers do their own thing, and he would come in.
Well, I mean, he tried to leave the Avengers, like, multiple times.
Yeah.
So, he kept it functional, somehow.
Yeah, what time is it?
But, it is...
Okay.
But... So, let's talk more about tier lists. Tell us about the tier list that you're going to be working on.
I am currently working on a tier list on all the TV shows that I've seen.
So...
And there's a caveat. It's like, I have to be able to remember most of what's happening in the show, the storyline, the characters, yada yada. So, things that I saw as a kid that I don't necessarily remember now, I don't count.
Would you go back to watch some stuff to try to jog your memory a bit?
No, I would not.
Why not?
Because I have a lot to do right now, and I just want to do other stuff than just watch stuff that I saw obscurely as a kid.
How many things on your list do you have right now?
Right now, I have 90.
90. Does it include your National Geographic shows?
No, I'm excluding like reality TV type stuff.
Okay,
and
so
documentaries.
So this is majorly drama stuff.
So mainly like dramas.
Anime?
I'm including anime, cartoons, live action, and anime.
Okay. Is Agent Carter on your list?
Eventually, I haven't put it there right now.
Okay.
But it's gonna be there.
Okay. What's the lowest possible level for Agent Carter?
I think the lowest I can give it is maybe a C.
Okay. Yeah, I figured. Alright. Will you be going over maybe your S tier or maybe the whole list in a future episode?
Sure, if you want to ask me about it. But it's like, it's gonna be like over 100 different options.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't even think we could even talk about the stuff like we did with mine because I probably have not seen even 5% of your list.
No.
So, will All right, you want to mention your other tier list?
So I do on my channel. Sometimes I'll do like a tier list video. So I did a tier list video on some Bionicle. I did one on the Joker, and the one I just finished working on is on Batman. So that's gonna be coming up soon, or maybe it's already up.
All right, so that's something for you guys to look forward to.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to include all the Batman TV series and movies.
It's more so like the Batman character,
The character.
featured on the different TV series, movies, and video games. I don't have every single version because sometimes there's just so many that you can't keep track of. But I have most of them.
Did you enjoy Batman vs. Superman?
Yes.
Yes. I think we talked about it, but you enjoyed the Snyder Cut, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So, are you looking forward to the new Suicide Squad movie?
No.
No.
I didn't really care for the first one. I don't really care about the concept of Suicide Squad.
Okay. And so, we've talked about this before, but this new one is both a sequel and a redo.
It's more of a sequel.
But it's also attempting to fix the original.
I mean, it's honestly, it doesn't really matter.
Are you gonna watch it, or it depends on the? Oh, there was a trailer.
Yeah, I don't really care for it.
Okay.
I'll watch it.
Wait, is it gonna be on HBO?
Yes.
Oh, are you gonna? I mean, you have HBO.
I mean, if I have HBO when it comes out, then sure.
Okay.
But right now, I don't really care.
That makes sense. So there's nothing you're excited for?
For the rest of the year? Not so much in movies, no.
What about TV?
Oh, yeah, we got some Star Wars stuff.
True. So is it just is it the Boba?
Boba, and then, like, the
Clone Wars.
Yeah, the Clone Wars sequel. Yeah.
And that's it.
And then Loki.
Oh, okay. I am interested because, again, like, end of WandaVision obviously affects the future of the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know yet about Falcon, but it could.
I mean,
it might not.
Honestly, no, Falcon does.
It does.
It does.
It does? Okay.
I mean,
I didn't want to say for sure.
It does because, like, we're continuing the story of Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Mm-hmm.
So those characters will go through an arc in the series.
Do you know how much it's, like, gonna affect, like, in the future? Because they're not confirmed in any other release past this, if I'm correct, right?
Who knows? But I'm pretty sure that they will affect.
And Loki will be very interesting because it either will affect the future a lot or it will just try to resolve that story. And I feel like it's going to have a mixture of both.
It's going to do some.
It's going to do something.
Some strange. But I don't know. I'm kind of on the edge in that one. Because, like, I like the idea of it, but, like, from what I see, the trailers haven't really shown me much that I'm, like, really excited for.
I think, honestly, for the most part, the first handful of episodes are for the Loki fans, and the last few episodes are for the overall storyline.
Okay.
That's how I'm observing, because it seems like Loki has a lot of fans. And so this is to appeal to a lot of them, but in the end, you have to take care of Loki somehow. So by the end of the finale episode, it's going to either have it's going to affect the future of the MCU, or it's simply going to just wrap up the storyline. But it seems like it's mostly just a platform for Loki to be Loki.
Mm-hmm.
So people are going to watch it regardless.
Sure, yeah.
Even, like, Loki's... I'm not one of those people who's like, oh my gosh, I love Loki. Like, I love Agent Carter. But I'm still basically going to watch it to see what happens. Honestly, with Loki, though, I think it's going to be very similar in that I'm not going to be fully invested until the whole thing releases.
Sure.
Unless it still happens that by the end of the first episode, there's some big cliffhanger that it's going to incorporate the Loki doing stuff and it affecting the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think that's
Yeah.
gonna happen.
We'll see.
And you said you're not interested in What If.
No, not really.
I'm pretty much. I know I'm interested in the first episode, and that's all I know.
I know. Interested in the first episode.
Yes.
Yep.
So, which I'm glad that Haley agreed to voice the character again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, she's been coming back, so.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's just like, because I've like looked at interviews and such, like obviously she wanted to continue Agent Carter when it first was canceled, but as time has gone on, you know, she has moved on to other projects, and so she's kind of like.
Yeah, I think most people have returned to do the roles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just feel like as time goes on, it makes a third season of Agent Carter even more unlikely. I hope that they can do it eventually.
I don't think it would.
Just do a third season to wrap up your stuff and get it over with.
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
I think for the most part it is wrapped up.
It's not wrapped up.
Like, not 100%.
Do you know who that person was at the end of season 2?
I don't exactly remember that portion, but go on.
Her brother is still alive.
Yeah, I don't think I would care for that kind of storyline.
What's interesting, you know,
it's like normal TV soap opera stuff. It's like, what? Your brother's still alive? Dun, dun, dun.
I mean, like, it's not like that I'm like, oh my gosh, her brother's still alive, but I'm more like, how does this affect her?
Yeah, and I'm not interested in that.
Okay.
Because it's like, it's one of those things that they do in almost every TV show. It's like, what? Does someone I thought was dead that means so much to me that's not dead? And they're so different. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, what happened to you? It's like,
well, honestly, thinking about it, like, this is almost like the same concept of Winter Soldier.
Yeah, it pretty much is.
Yeah. Which kind of made me be like, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if they deliberately copied it off the movie, or if it just so happened that
they
both
didn't.
got the same idea.
No, they didn't. It's because this is like a concept that's like very old. It's like, it's been done so many times.
Mm-hmm. But...
And not really well, for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Except for Winter Soldier.
The only reason why I'm intrigued is because we're gonna know the character more of Agent Carter, and
sure.
It's gonna dive more into her motivations of why she does what she does and who she is as a person.
Okay.
And I don't know. I hope that it can happen, but with every day that passes, I know makes it even more unlikely because it's just such a time distance. I know it's possible, but
it's possible, and then you have to factor in like the last season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.,
which I don't know what happened in the last season.
I think they do go into like that time period, and we see Sousa.
Well, I know we see Sousa, but we don't see Carter.
I don't know.
Do we
not? Is she not in there? I don't know.
I don't think so. I think, like, it confirms that Carter and Sousa don't end up together.
I mean, we know that much from Endgame.
Yeah. Well, I mean, no, the issue of Endgame, though, is because it's an alternate timeline, so...
Not necessarily, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because, like, you see in The Winter Soldier, you see him and old Peggy.
Yes.
And there's a photograph where she has a family.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't see the husband in that photograph.
It was assumed that it was someone...
At that time, it was assumed to be someone from the show. However, now that Endgame came in, it's possible that Steve can see himself in that picture.
But the Smithsonian interview, she says that Captain America saved the man who would eventually become her husband.
Sure. Unless she was lying. Unless Steve is like has a fake name. Like when he goes back. Because like if he goes back and he's continued with his I'm Steve It's like, how's that going to change history?
Mm-hmm.
Unless he's just like, I'm just going to be a normal guy with a different name.
How? Because the whole timeline thing, I'm not gonna lie, is, and I mean, I think every person could say it, is confusing. It's like, first off, the aspect that you didn't use Doctor Strange's time stone, because,
Sure.
but I'm not gonna dive into like the science of it, but like how this whole timeline thing affects stuff. For example, the Soul Stone. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Thanos still had to sacrifice Gamora to get it, despite. Now, we don't know when.
And it's possible that Loki will do something about that. Who knows?
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see how the Loki series is going to affect stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Which I would be surprised if it was just made for Loki to be Loki. Because we know Marvel, they're always doing something.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling this series is going to serve both the purpose to make the Loki fans happy and to help tie up some things.
Sure.
Or make things even more complicated. Probably both.
I mean, that's comics for you. They gotta get that next level in the story.
Mm-hmm. So...
All right. There's not really much else left on this topic.
Well, no, I mean, the time travel, like, there's nothing more for you to say on that.
I don't want to say much more about the time travel stuff. It's
just too much.
I mean, there's like so much that could be said that has been said before.
I don't know what has been said.
I don't even know what's even left to say.
What if I didn't hear what has been said?
I don't care.
You know what?
Just wait till it comes out. But yeah, the last things that I would want to say is a different topic.
Okay. Go ahead.
Indiana Jones 5. That's something that's in production.
Okay.
When
was the last one?
Last one, it was in 2007, 2008.
Really?
Over 10 years ago.
Wow.
So
supposedly, I don't even remember releasing.
I do. I was there. I saw it in theaters. It's my first Indiana Jones. I got the toys, got the video games.
Because when I lived in LA, I still remember like seeing billboards for Iron Man. You know what I mean? But I don't remember Indiana Jones. So that has to be a lapse in memory.
Maybe it was like a 2009 thing.
If it was 2009, then that would probably make more sense.
Okay.
Because we moved in 2009. So I know probably in the middle of the summer, but at the same time...
now I'm thinking about it, it's probably more a 2009 thing.
Okay. Like fall?
I don't know.
If it was fall, definitely, then I didn't see anything.
I'm not sure about fall, maybe like summer.
Because I moved into summer, so I probably would have seen something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Whatever.
But
yeah, that was something that came out and people didn't really care for. I liked it, but...
Okay.
Even though I was a kid. But yeah...
So this fifth one, are they getting a new actor?
They're bringing back Harrison Ford.
Okay.
Supposedly, it's their fifth and final one, which, please God, let it be the final one.
Yeah, because nothing's ever final, unfortunately.
But it's like people are just so scared because they announced like the casting thing, and so we have Indiana Jones, and that's the only familiar character that they've announced. There's no. And also they announced like, also there's like this female lead, and people are like, oh no, it's like, what are they gonna do? Everyone's freaking out. It's like, what are they gonna do? Are they gonna do a thing where like she's gonna become the new Indiana Jones? We don't want that. He has a son. Let him be the new Indiana Jones. Like, what are they gonna do?
Female power.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
So, what's the history of Indiana Jones? Comic books?
No.
Or was it the movie?
It's the movies.
Okay.
The movies started it.
So, it was Spielberg, right?
Spielberg and Lucas.
Are they involved with this fifth one?
Spielberg is producing.
So, at least he is involved in some way.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, it's better than... Oh, we're just going to do a fifth one.
It's better than having be... not Spielberg
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So at least he's involved. So hopefully there can still be some integrity. So when is it expected? Like a 22 release?
22, maybe 23.
Yeah.
Yeah, about that time.
Okay.
I hope it's the last one, and I also hope that they do tie in some stuff with the young Indiana Jones TV series. I just want that series to be back in the limelight again.
Yeah.
Because it deserves it.
Mm-hmm. When was this cast list announced?
About like last week, this past week. Yeah.
I didn't see. Now, this morning I saw some headline that mentioned an Indiana Jones 5, and first off, I was like, I didn't know there was a fourth one. Second off, I thought this was just, someone talking about a potential fifth one.
Oh no,
I didn't see it trending on Twitter, period. So I'm surprised I missed all this.
the fifth one was announced back when all the Star Wars projects were announced.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So it's a Disney entity now?
Yeah, because Indiana Jones is part of Lucasfilm,
Okay.
which makes Star Wars.
Okay. I didn't know that.
And so, yeah.
Okay. Was Indiana Jones the only thing Lucas and Spielberg made together?
No, I don't think so. I mean, they're friends, so like they help with each other with stuff. But that's like their big one that they work each other with.
Okay. So you're scared.
I'm excited for a new movie, but I'm also scared with what they're gonna do.
In terms of timeline.
We don't know.
Okay.
Like people are like saying it's like if they go by the age of the actor, in with the age of the character. They're
How
saying,
old is Ford?
Ford is like 78
Poor man.
or something like that. Yeah. And the character of Indiana Jones was born in like 1899 or something, and they're saying it's like so if they do the same thing where they're like the same age, then the movie will be placed in 1977, which was the year that Star Wars came out. And people were like, so we're going to see Indiana Jones go to the movie theaters and watch Star Wars? And I'm like, please don't. Like, I don't want that to happen because, like, one, that's too meta, and two, I just feel like it's better when Indiana Jones is placed in much older timeline. That's not within our modern view. Because all that we've seen of him is him in, like, the 30s and the 40s.
Imagine playing a character like Indiana Jones at the age of 78. He must be in good shape.
Because, like, if they do, like, a thing where Star Wars comes out, then it's like, well, then how do they explain Indiana Jones? Like, what? Let's not go that way. Let's just not do that. Even though it's like, oh, funny, same actor. It's like, let's just...
Oh, wait. Ford is in Star Wars?
Yeah, Ford is in Star Wars. He's Han Solo. He's one of the big characters in Star Wars.
I didn't know that.
Oh, okay.
Now I know.
Now you know.
So, did you ever watch the Han Solo movie?
Yep.
Did you like it?
No.
Because it wasn't Ford?
I mean, that and other stuff, but yeah.
Okay. Because that's the... See, I don't... Like, I'm having enough trouble with Marvel right now, right? I don't want to get into Star Wars because it's a whole different universe, but also because since Disney, I have seen no one ever says the same thing.
Okay.
Everyone has a different opinion. Even if they're similar, they're all different.
Yeah.
Some people like Solo, and it was a pleasant surprise, and some people hate it. Some people love Rogue One, and some people are like, why does this exist? And pretty much the only thing that everyone has in common is that the 8th one is the worst one. But
except for the people who love it.
But that I've rarely met a person.
Oh, I've seen a lot of people that love it.
Okay. So it's like, now I know a lot of people seem to be liking The Mandalorian. Everyone was excited Clone Wars came back. I know people are excited about the new one. But I'm like, I don't... If people don't... I think that's my dorm mate, Philip. Yeah, if people aren't crazy about it, why... I don't want I'm not ready to subject myself to it.
Sure. And like, if you're ever going to, I'd say subject yourself to just the main.
Well, here's the issue.
Original stuff.
Here's the issue. Once I get in it, I don't want to stop.
I know.
So obviously I'm going to start with the original 6, but I'm eventually going to watch, the Disney stuff.
And like, there's also a chronological order to everything.
I don't want to think about that right now.
I can compile a whole list on this stuff.
Well, thank you, but when I get to it, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, man. Like, already, like, people have their issue. Well, I mean, like, in general, a lot of people enjoy Marvel, but I know people have their issues, and I've been talking about the stuff enough, and I don't need any more distraction for schoolwork right now. And I'm enjoying my Marvel stint right now. Maybe it'll die out, but right now I know that I want to see Black Widow when it releases. I want to see Loki when it releases.
Like, Black Widow needs to release. Like, it
will.
Yeah, it's been pushed back, like, so many times.
I'm positive that this is the final date. Because they're doing the premiere access.
It has to do it. It has to really win one.
We have the vaccinations. We have the premiere access. There's no way they're changing the day at this point.
Yeah.
It would have to take a, quote, catastrophe to happen that
it's like,
everyone...
It's not good business for them to keep pushing it back.
Yeah. I'm glad that they weren't pushing the TV series that much. I mean, I know that Falcon was pushed, but in general, they're like, they released WandaVision. Basically, Falcon is released at this point. You know what I mean?
I think there was a little bit of pushback with the TV series. Because I do think, like, they were supposed to come in in 2020.
I saw Falcon was due in the fall.
Yeah, so, like, they were supposed to be more so in the fall, but they had to be pushed back. Which...
was that due to production?
I mean, it would probably have to do with production inside the COVID. So, definitely COVID pushed things back a bit.
Yeah, because I feel like that'd be more of a production issue than, are people going to see this issue?
Yeah, it was not so much people seeing, it was more so a production thing.
But it was really interesting to see kind of how WandaVision kind of seemed to rope people back into the MCU. Because it seemed like a lot of people after Endgame were like, I'm done. And there are still some people who are like that, but it seemed like a lot of people are very intrigued to see what the future holds.
Another thing with the production thing with WandaVision, like, the final episode wasn't finished until they just released it.
Really?
Yeah, like, they were still working on it. Like, the final, everything wasn't really done until, like, the week of or the week before.
I believe it.
And so, like, it really shows in the final episode.
Oh, it does?
Like, it shows in that, like, a lot of things were cut that would have made situations better.
Interesting.
A lot of things were cut in the final episode, which really feels like... Wait, it really feels like, this storyline didn't go anywhere. Of course, because it was cut, so...
Do you think that they're going to try to fix it? No. That's a shame.
No, like, I think they'll just leave it be. They'll probably, like, release it as, like, deleted scene stuff, but not so much anything else.
Do you think some of these potential storylines may play out in the future?
Probably not. No.
Like, I saw that there potential will be some connection with the second Captain Marvel.
The second Captain Marvel thing is already still there. It's like, yeah, that's obvious. That's still there. But yeah.
So there's other things. Okay.
There's other things that aren't really touched on. That's like, what happened to this? Like, why wasn't this thing shown after this point? It's like, they ran out of time or they had to cut some. Which is a shame.
Yeah. Yeah, that's... I know, I bet that some people at Marvel are kind of banging their heads a bit when they look back at some things, like, they wish they could have done things better.
Yeah.
And so, like, that makes me really wonder that, like, in 50 years when they reboot it, like, are they going to try to perfect the storylines? Or are they going to try to do something completely new and different?
I mean, My bet is that they're going to try and do things new and different.
Mm-hmm.
The most ideal world is like they create these series not set in our modern times. They create a timeless world that's not bound to our reality.
Mm-hmm.
That's like one of the things that I just don't really like in the past decade of superhero stuff is how it's set in our modern times, and because of that, we can't have like some classic stories that just wouldn't really work well with the advancement of our technology.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, why didn't they just do this? It's like, especially in Spider-Man 2.
Mm-hmm.
But do you want me to like explain this small bit here?
You can explain a small bit.
Okay, there's a small bit where Spider-Man, he's beat up and his mask is off.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like surrounded by a whole crowd of people. And like people, they see him as like, oh my gosh, he's just a kid. He wakes up and he's like, my mask is gone. And everyone's like, don't worry, we won't tell your secret. And that was like told today, people with their like smartphones would just take it off and take a picture.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, they could do that kind of story because they didn't have that kind of technology.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, that's like one of the things that I feel like if you were to do that kind of story, you need to set up a world that doesn't really have like the smartphone technology.
Mm-hmm. Is there a movie that you feel like encapsulates a good timeless aspect
In
recent times? Doesn't matter if it's a superhero movie or not.
yeah.
But if you have a superhero movie example, that'd be interesting.
Not so much in a movie that I can think of on top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
Like the main thing I can think of is like the TV series called Gotham.
Gotham?
Yes.
When was that released?
Oh, that was like within the past few years.
Okay. So the TV series is fine.
So yeah, the TV series Gotham, it's like the origins of like Batman when he was like in the cities of Gotham.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about that is like we don't know what time period that film is that series is set in.
So like what does it feel like? Does it feel like kind of today but not at the same time?
I mean, here's the thing. It feels like the way everything's stylized, it looks like kind of like the 40s and 50s.
Mm-hmm.
But it also feels like today.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's hard to tell, but it's really good, and I like the way they do that.
So it's a good mixture.
It's a good mixture.
Okay. Cool.
You don't have to deal with the smartphones,
Mm-hmm.
and it's fine. It's good.
Okay. What's the lowest ranking that we get?
For what?
Tier lists.
Of what?
Then
The lowest ranking of what?
overall TV shows.
Oh, I don't have one.
Okay.
Not right now.
Okay.
No.
But it's a good one.
Gotham?
Mm.
Yeah.
So it's fine.
It's fine.
Okay. But you like how they developed it.
Honestly, Gotham is like one of those shows that I can watch and not be bored with, which they do a really good job at that.
But it could be better.
It's like the way they took some of the characters. I'm like, oh, okay.
Gotcha. All right. Because you have to get to class and because I have to get to class.
And this is like really gone long.
It has gone long. And maybe next time we won't talk about superheroes.
For so long.
We basically talked for 2 straight episodes about Marvel. My fault.
So it's fine.
But you're happy.
Sure. This podcast is almost 2 hours long, I think.
Yep. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't have many people to talk about this with because I am in my room trying to do my schoolwork.
Sure, yeah.
So
yeah.
But also the tier list, come on, I want someone's opinion. And I get to explain myself, even if no one's going to listen to this. Oh yeah, how are the listeners? You haven't checked?
Not great.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, like ever since our hiatus, our listeners have just been kind of few.
Yeah, that's fine. We do this for us.
Yes.
Yes.
Just us.
Just us.
Anyway, thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you all next time.
Bye.
Bye.